Riggs Eckelberry from Origin Oil with us today. Stock symbol OOIL, originoil.com. Great to have you in the studio, buddy.
Thanks,
And Petro, Aqua, and Algae are just our three.
Those are my dogs.
Yeah, I know. I know they are. Three of the verticals for Origin Oil: breakthrough water cleanup technology for oil, gas, algae, and other water-intensive industries. Riggs, we're following for the last close to a year now as we do a segment called Small Caps for People Too, because we've seen this company go from, okay, this is what we're doing, this is a great idea, to we have completely expanded the business model, made it bigger and better, and now we're in three verticals except for one. Explain, Riggs.
You made that completely complicated.
Well, but
He does that. That's why I'm here.
That's what I'm supposed
Talk
to
to
do.
me, Kirk. What have you done with
Okay,
the water?
here's the bottom line.
Okay.
Once upon a time, we were aspirational.
Oh, yeah.
We hoped to do something. Now we've got technology that works, that's in the field, and we've been doing licensing deals. That's our business, is to license.
Right.
Now we got this breakthrough way of pulling organic contaminants out of huge amounts of water.
Yeah.
That's a problem. And, you know, people in fracking and in all kinds of industries need that help. So to target these industries, we're doing licensing deals in those industries.
Which means you put your little idea in their existing stuff.
Exactly. It's
Okay.
powered by Origin Oil.
You know, and the idea here, you know, the interesting part, you weren't, was it always a licensed deal, or were you?
It was always a licensed deal, but what's happened is over the years we've had to essentially prove our technology by selling equipment. So we'll go through periods of sell to get the latest thing out, and then we go, okay, now we're licensing, and now we are settled in the licensing, and I'm going to show you a heck of a matrix that we'll talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Now let's talk before we show the grid, the matrix grid about licensing. Explain, and you've got a great analogy about Dolby, and not
Thomas
Dolby,
She blinded me with science.
the 80s musician, but Dolby. Remember the Dolby noise
Dolby sound,
suppressor
it's
on
everywhere.
your computer,
Yeah.
right? He never made anything. He made one, and then he licensed technology to every other stereo
You know, he
manufacturer.
could have made the Dolby tuner and the
Right.
no, it would have been a big mistake because it would have been just some, you know, sort of cottage industry thing. Instead, he never made one end user unit. The technology disappeared into every single receiver, radio, etc. And the company to this day is a great public company, and very strong. So that's the philosophy. If you have multiple markets for something, which Dolby had, it's the only way you can go.
So do you make anything?
No,
I mean,
we
do you
don't.
have
Well,
to
they
make a
invented
piece?
one thing that can be applied over many metrics.
Yes,
basically.
but in addition, we're going to continue to make certain control elements,
Yeah.
you know, like so we can track usage and things like that. But these are small circuit boards. The main equipment is not for us to make.
The main equipment was already here, and you put it together? Is that what I'm
Sure.
getting here? Shut up.
Well,
I'm trying to figure
Did you
this
just
out.
tell
I
our
don't know
guests to
what
shut up? That's great. Yes. Well, no. What they
Like I
invented
could go to
No, the
wa-
invention was there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
We invented this thing.
called electro water separation.
Right. And it uses these tubes and tubs and so forth.
Yeah.
Okay. And we make prototypes of it.
Okay.
So there's this size, but they're we don't ever get into volume manufacturing. That's for our what we call OEMs,
Original equipment manufacturers.
Look
Right.
at you two. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
There we
actually we can do harmony.
Yeah,
too.
we're hitting the road actually in the summer.
Hey, how you doing, Charlie?
So let's show us the grid here. And if you're listening to us on radio, I'll post this up at bigbizshow.com. But really, what you have on the left side of the grid is Petro, Aqua, and Algae stacked on top of each other. And on the top of the grid, you have the Americas, EMEA, and Asia on the top. And basically, it looks like a tic-tac-toe board. You've got 9 spaces there, and there's a few X's and a couple of 1s. Let's talk about that.
Looks like EMEA Aqua will give us the 3. No, just joking.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Winner.
But okay, so what you've got here is on the left side are 3 major application areas. There's
Yeah.
others that are minor that we're not working in very heavily, like waste.
Right.
Those are just
Ew, good.
okay. Thank you. Well, on the top is major parts of the world: the Americas, of course, Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
Oh, that's what EMEA is.
Right, and then Asia. Now, basically, it's a very simplified grid to show how we're penetrating these markets, and you can see that we have one OEM in North America, which is Pearl Blue.
Right?
Right, and we're doing this big showcase with them. And then the bottom right, we have a deal doing urban vertical farms with OrcaVision that we announced earlier this year, $1 million deal, et cetera. Okay, so each of these deals, I'm only I've only put a number there where there's actual revenue associated. Where actually commercial. There's lots of deals out there, but
Right.
until there's money, who cares?
Sure.
Okay, so now this grid needs to be populated,
Okay.
and our plan is to put 3 in each one of those.
You're right.
So if you do the numbers, that's
A lot.
3 times 6, 18.
And what are we populating them with, just for our radio
All
audience?
right.
They can
So let me
visualize
just explain the concept of an OEM, right? If you're Alpine Radio and you sell a radio to BMW, they put their name on the radio.
it. Yeah, they
It's-
private label it.
It's called a BMW radio.
okay, yeah.
Right.
They're an OEM. They are the OEM. See? Now, so our stuff will disappear into these guys, and they'll rebadge it. It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we still get a percentage of the total revenue for the entire machine,
Yeah.
including their parts.
And
the
that's
whole
why
thing.
you put that thing in there to count how many gallons are whipping through.
Things
it.
like
So
that.
hey,
Because
hey,
you
hey,
get,
owe us
a
40
piece of the
cents.
action based on how much gallons are whipping through.
if they're charging that
To
way,
use your parlance.
Well, yeah.
whipping exactly.
I like the algae one though, the fish farm one. That one's got my interest there. Seems so easy to just buy that machine, put it in the backyard, fill the pool with. I don't know. It seems easier than the stinky one you're talking about, working with waste.
Yeah, you know.
Put that on the back burner.
Yeah, I need the hip high waiters and the whole
God,
thing.
and
It's
the mask. It's gross. Yeah.
The
Petro, though.
Riggs, the Petro, Aqua, and Algae. I want you to explain, because I just got an email from someone. The 3 metrics on what you do for each one of those. What you guys do for oil, what you guys do for water, what you guys do for algae. And algae kind of runs through all 3 of these. So
That's true. Okay, so in petroleum, you've got frac water. That is these big loads of 3 to 6 million gallons of water shot down at once. It's called a frac job. A frac job, there can be up to 48 frac jobs per well, so there's a lot of frac jobs going on. Bunch of it comes back up. It comes back up polluted. You've got to clean it. And if you can clean it and recycle it, then you have less truck trips. You don't have to bring fresh water, et cetera.
Right there at the site.
Exactly, in real time.
Yeah.
Right? So our process in real time cleans that water, which makes everybody happy. Less truck trips, less
Right,
less
right.
water usage, et cetera. Then additionally, what people don't realize, in addition to the frac water, there's something called produced water, which is the constant floods of water coming out of these formations. They say the oil industry is actually a water management industry that happens to harvest oil.
So they
Right.
just happen to find on their way to the fracking
There's a huge amounts of water come up.
water everywhere.
They got to treat it, and they can reuse it, etc. This is a good thing if you manage it right. So there's that. The next thing is, of course, on the list is aqua.
we'll tell you what. Stay right there. We're going to
That's
explain
water.
Aqua when we get back at 35.
Okay.
And this is the original man who invented the Dolby noise reduction.
That's right,
Also had a
Thomas.
couple hit songs in the 80s. I wonder if they're related, by the way. And I wonder
Yeah,
if
they
Thomas
are.
Dolby.
He's the son.
I wonder if Thomas
Is he?
Dolby's
Yes.
music played on Thomas Dolby's noise reduced
course.
Alpine. Could you imagine? Big Biz Show, BigBizShow.com. More Riggs Eckelberry at 35 past. News Radio 600. We're going to play in the afternoon. That's right. Origin Oil, breakthrough water cleanup technology. OriginOil.com. Speaking of Origin Oil, we've got breaking news from what I understand, Riggs. Breaking news out of Japan.
Yes, my brother Nicholas is in Japan.
And he just lost his hat, and we found it. Rest assured, we'll keep care of it. What's going on in Japan?
Thank you, Rusty.
I'm sorry. Come on.
Yeah, what's going on in Japan?
Here it comes.
So he goes, great news, just signed an LOI with blank company. 'Cause
Okay.
I can't.
Yeah, we
it's-
can't. But LOI is a letter of intent.
Exactly.
Okay.
For
see that.
You can't see
algae
that.
food systems, okay?
Okay, so we just checked in, and what is it? Asia?
It's Asia algae. So that's actually.
So we can put another
two di-
one. We got a couple digits in our
two.
box.
It becomes
corner
2.
there.
Yeah, 2 bottom right.
Carry
Okay,
on.
so this company is a chemical company with many animal feed company clients in Malaysia, Indonesia, Vietnam, India, Taiwan, Singapore, and of course
Wow.
Japan. And so it's all signed and chopped. You know, they chop these things.
Chop.
You know, they have the chop.
Oh, yeah,
with
right.
this. So that's all done. And so here's the deal. In Asia, they're going nuts over algae for livestock and
Yeah.
fish feed.
Now
Why?
this is when you extract the algae, correct? Is that what you're
So
talking about?
we're the harvesters. We don't grow them, but we're there to bring it, to get it out and pelletize it.
So getting it out means getting it out of the water.
Exactly.
Okay.
In what water?
Any water.
Okay.
Algae grows in water.
Any water.
So it looks like Kool-Aid. It looks green, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we got plenty of film of this. So basically, there's algae in these fish farms.
Sure.
There's algae in standing water. There's algae everywhere. These guys can go in. They using their electro-water separation. They extract. They not only clean up the water, they extract the algae, and then they pelletize the algae, and now they create fish food out of it.
Exactly.
Wow.
These guys are making money on air, basically.
Now, this food for livestock and fish helps, first of all, if you give a steer a choice between food with algae in it and food with not, he'll jump all over the algae food. They want that. It's got that.
Something in there.
It's got omega-3s.
Yeah.
It's got
So they
important
crave
stuff.
it.
They do.
No
and
kidding.
humans end up getting the omega-3s in their bodies because farmed fish almost has no omega-3 whatsoever. This is
yeah.
the way to add it. And here's the capper. Algae as a food source is cheaper than the fish meal they're using.
Right.
Oh, no kidding.
And it has no mercury, et cetera. It's a win-win.
Algae cheaper than the fish food, meaning that, and I'm telling you, this is where it's going to happen. I keep on hearing this. Aquaculture is he's going to feed the world. He's going to clean up the water,
Yeah.
and then we're going to start Origin Oil bottled water,
Yeah.
from swamp to kitchen table.
Riggs water.
Riggs water. That's right. And it'll be bubbly and,
delicious.
It'll be delicious. That's right. Let's speaking of wastewater cleanup. It's not on this grid, but is that in the future at all? Doing wastewater cleanup?
Yes, there's a couple things to know. For a long time, we've known that waste, wastewater is the killer app. The
Right.
problem is that you got big players that take forever to make up their minds. Right? These are municipalities, public health issues,
Committees.
blah 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 blah. So we've always looked for what's the entry point, and we have a couple experimental situations with groups that are doing small scale breakthrough wastewater stuff that are testing our stuff, and that's where that's at. Because we want to keep it off our grid for now, because all the air will come out of the room. We're focusing on things like oil and gas, where there's current money, big demand. Look at California with this big water shortage. We're doing our showcase, and I'll be announcing, I think on next week's show, I'll be able to announce the...
In California?
Yes, it's in California.
Yeah, that's right. They'll be announcing. Let them announce.
I want to go to the party.
You'll be there.
I happen to know where it is,
Yeah, I bet.
okay? But we're still settling the date because we're trying to connect with the elected officials' schedule,
Sure.
but that's big for us.
Yeah, and the elected officials means that you got dignitaries there to sort of witness the big unveiling of the technology for this different space. So-
And they love to be associated with water recycling in California.
yeah, right. Well, and I think one of the interesting parts about that whole thing is that you've got a state of California that's already heading towards mandate towards that type of thing. And you know, if you get your business model rigs where you are mandated in any one of these areas, I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday. You know, when you're in the mandate business, you know, when you're in the business of everybody has to have catalytic converters on their cars, suddenly smog shops are around forever. The smog shops are like liquor stores at that point. Nobody's ever going to go out of business as long as they do their business right. And I think that's probably what we're looking for here. So,
Wow.
but in fact, how much time do you spend with legislature? How much time do you spend pitching, state and federal government on what you guys are doing? Because obviously there's a huge benefit, big economic impact too for the cities that you guys are in. You have to. Is that coming? Is that the next sort of step for you guys?
Well, again, it's something we're very wary of because, again, you can spend a lot of money, and we're not the actual people on the ground. Remember, we
So
do
you
the
need a market
licensing.
driver to do that. Maybe a not-for-profit that, a clean technology not-for-profit, an aquaculture not-for-profit.
But remember
oil and gas.
this, oil and gas, right? Now, what they'll tell you is, well, it's cheaper to hire a lawyer than comply with the law, right?
Sure.
They'll say that. But if there's profit involved,
Right.
Yeah.
if they can
Oh, boy.
recover more petroleum, it's
Yeah.
a done deal.
Right.
They can use less, if they can pay for less fresh water, that's also a done deal.
Right.
Fewer trucks. So we're getting them on cost savings and making more money. And by the way,
That's-
it's the law.
Yeah. That bonus. Well,
Yeah.
you get their attention when you get in their wallet.
Exactly.
With
Well,
anybody.
and that's exactly right. It does get the attention. Riggs, I appreciate it. Always good to have you in studio. Riggs Eckelberry, the CEO of Origin Oil. Will you bring your brother back soon so the two of you guys can come take some
Let's do
pictures?
that thing.
I think we need to do that thing where you guys bring the two back and you just bail for a little while.
I'll
Actually, you
talk-
can be here.
I want to talk to him about my new fish farm.
Okay.
I'm so going fish.
I thought you were going to build a swimming pool so you can grow algae.
Man, if there's a fish in there.
It grows naturally.
Yeah, it
That's
grows
right.
naturally. There you go.
How easy is that? I'm growing some right now.
Thank you, Riggs. I appreciate it. Riggs Eckelberry, CEO, originoil.com. Their stock symbol OOIL.